This is chapters 36 through 40 of 14 Ways to Die. 36. The messages keep coming. I see you. You look so helpless when you sleep. I can't wait to see what your insides look like. I try to ignore them, but each one reminds me of my mom lying there, helpless. Lorraine calls and says the person is using a number-changing app, so it's not as easy to trace it and break down their door. She says the police are doing all they can to help. I don't believe her, but thank her anyway. I feel sick whenever I get a new notification. My inbox is a twisted list of reminders of how much I've lost. Danny messages me with this week's viewing figures. A 159,000 increase. Good job. Whoever's sending the text, they're helping. Back at school, Hannah says, "It's Ross. It has to be." I've thought a lot about that, but it can't be him. I saw him. I heard him. He wants justice like I do. There's no reason for Ross to mess with me. He doesn't have my phone number. I gave him the number to this. I pull out my dad's phone and Emily grabs it and says, "This is old," stretching the old out far longer than she needs to. Hannah frowns. I told you to stop doing that. She means keeping a phone in my bra because my mom knows someone who got breast cancer and believes because her mom knows someone who got breast cancer and believes whatever is in a smartphone is bad for your boobs. But dad's phone is ancient. Emily hands it back to me and says, "Could he get it?" "What?" "The number to your real phone. Could this Ross guy get it?" "He wants to help," I say. "He has nothing to do with this." I know I should be more suspicious of Ross, but if I admit that, I'm scared of what it meant. But if I admit that, I'm scared of what it meant for our first meeting. I connected with the family of another victim. That's what I need to be true. "You should have protection," Hannah says. "They should have someone outside your house." "It's just some loner trying to scare you," Emily says. "Change your number and don't tell anyone except us." It's the most obvious solution, and I have thought about it, but I don't want to. Every message is another sign that this is working, that my face on a screen is doing something. If I didn't know better, I would believe the nagging feeling that maybe it's the real Magpie Man contacting me because he thinks he can get away with it. But I do know better. Know your enemy. That's rule number 1 if you want to beat them. This enemy wouldn't text. He wouldn't risk it. But my audience doesn't need to know that. I don't have time to catch an imposter. I need to put all my efforts into the real thing. 37. "Hi," Ross says. "Are you okay?" I'm calling on Dad's old phone, lying on my bed with the lights off and wondering if this was a good idea. "I'm fine," I say, because it's what I always say. "I just wanted to talk." "What's up?" "We could speak about the text. We could discuss the show, but I need something different tonight." "I miss her," I whisper, "every single day." Ross doesn't answer right away, but when he does, his voice sounds closer somehow. "You always will," he says. He doesn't add anything like, "That's a good thing," or "She's always with you." He has heard it all before. That's why I called him. I feel empty, I say. My dad gave it into it, and I don't even blame him anymore. It's so fucking hard to keep living. "But we do it," Ross replies, and a smile into the darkness. "We do." "You know the worst thing for me," he says? "It's all the firsts you have without them. I came out without her. I graduated without her. I got married without her." Ross was 18 when his mother died, older than I am now. He had 11 more years with her, and it still wasn't enough. It wasn't even close. "If this doesn't work, I don't know what I'll do," I whisper. I'm tired of being the girl with the murdered mom. "That won't change, Jess, but you can be more than that. You can be the woman with a soulmate, the woman with kids, the woman with a job she loves, whatever you want, a life worth living." The tears come silently, but I don't wipe them away. "I've made some progress connecting with the other families," he says. "Your show is making others want to talk. It shouldn't be long now." I smile and imagine a time when this will be worth it, when I can look back on the show and be proud of our efforts. Whatever happens is already helping because I found some light in the darkness. "Tell me about your mom," I say, and for the next hour I listen to Ross remembering his life before it was broken, telling me stories that calm my fears. 38. After theology flashbacks. After theology class, Mr. Humphreys asks me to stay behind while he talks to Bernie. During class at opposite sides of the classroom, it's easy to forget we used to be best friends. But as I wait for our teacher to talk her through last week's homework, it feels awkward how we knew each other before we really knew ourselves. Bernie smiles as she walks past, polite rather than friendly, and I hope she loves her new friends as much as I love Emily and Hannah. Jessica, Mr. Humphrey says, pointing for me to sit down. I won't keep you long. If you graded St. Anthony's teachers from best to worst, he would get the best marks. Mr. Humphreys is my dad's age, but he dresses a lot sharper. The edges of his tattoos poke from his shirt sleeves, and we all have our theories what they are. He never talks down to us or shouts for no reason. Some teachers think loudness is their most important asset, but he knows it's fairness. If you've pissed him off, you know you deserve it. I wanted to talk to you about Mayfield Lodge, he says. I nod, trying to stay calm, even though I'd forgotten all about it. Every March, the 11th grade theology class goes on a retreat, and when they come back, they're different. You can see it in their smiles and how they walk. They look lighter, and it freaks the rest of us out. This year, it's our turn. I've spoken to them, Mr. Humphrey says. They will not sanction any additional visitors. Emily will be gutted if I don't go. So will I. Mr. Humphrey smiles. I haven't finished yet. They still want you to come, Jessica, and they understand that on the first day you have certain responsibilities. I think of the mini cams still untouched on my desk at home. Provided you can film yourself, there won't be a problem. I thought I would warn you now, so you can speak to the appropriate people. It means that for 1 week, if Adrian and Danny agree, I will go solo. Thank you. I'll ask. If they say no, I'm afraid you won't be able to come, but you'll get a full refund. Emily is waiting for me outside, and when I tell her, she says, You'd better come. You're not leaving me on my own. There are 10 other people in our theology class, 6 girls and 4 boys, but none of them are what you would call friends. If I don't go, Emily will sulk her way through the whole week. Before the show, I was looking forward to Mayfield Lodge. Now I'm worried because I forgot to mention it on my application form, and that will be the 4th week. For 4 of us, it will be our last week, and I'm going to have to do it alone. Whew! 39! That night, I catch up on what I've missed from the others. It's hard to keep up, and I worry my audience is feeling the same. Wonder if their busy lives will get in the way and they'll stop watching. I watched Sonia first. There are lots of theories about her. People have even started messaging me. Have you met Sonia? What is she hiding? I'm scared of the answer because it's bigger than hunting a serial killer. Because if it's bigger than hunting a serial killer, I'm screwed. Her highlights don't really deserve that word, but her subscribers increase anyway. I'm sorry to all the families of the people my brother killed, Ryan says. I know it doesn't mean much, but I truly am. I watch a woman whose husband was shot hug Ryan in his living room. They sob in each other's arms, and I feel guilty for competing with them. In the background, his mother sits with her head in her hands. Then Ella's father tells everyone that his daughter is pregnant despite never having had sex. He has a white strip under a black collar. No wonder he's pushing this as an immaculate conception. Ella stands beside him, her eyes down and a bright red shame spot creeping up her neck. Her viewers are a mixture of those who believe her and those calling her a slut. Lucas hasn't done anything you'd expect him to do, like sleep with a bunch of girls or say something controversial. I thought he would be my biggest challenge, but it's like he has given up. When I call Danny, he says, 159,000 increase from week 1. You didn't think that was worth replying to? I smile to myself. There's no way they'll stop me going to Mayfield Lodge if my ratings keep going up. How does that compare with the others? Danny laughs. You know I can't tell you that, Jess, but you're doing well. I swallow my nerves and say, well enough? He laughs again, and for a moment I think he's actually going to tell me. But instead he says, how's things with the texts? It's okay. What about the police? He asks, and I shake my head even though he can't see me. They're as useful as they've ever been. I hear him take a deep breath. I know I'm your director, and I know I should be impartial, but just be careful. I don't want you getting hurt. I close my eyes and smile because his words sound comforting and electric at the same time. And then I glance at Mom's photo, and as quick as that, the feeling is gone. To change the subject, I tell him about Mayfield Lodge. I can go, but only if you don't. He laughs. I'll have to speak to Adrian, but I don't see a problem, provided you promise to use the cameras all day. I will. You should start getting used to them, he says. I can give you another quick tutorial if you'd like. Sometimes his words sound like flirting, but I can't be certain. Sure, I say, I'd like that, because sometimes my words sound like flirting too, at least to me. Oh, dude, I'm gonna be so happy if they get together. Okay. I shouldn't be thinking like that. I need to stay focused because my life isn't a love story. Hold on, it might be illegal. I take that back. I don't know for sure. I forgot how old they all were. If Mom were still alive, she might have prepared me for love. She might have made it magical. But all I know is that even when you find your soulmate, you are one terrible day away from losing them. Nan says there's no way for a 17-year-old to think. She says chances are there to be taken. How about Saturday? Danny asks. I can't. We're having a girls' day out. Once a month, Emily, Hannah, and I go to Harmony for a shopping trip to an outlet place called The Waves. We have a sleepover, rotating between our houses, and because Dad doesn't have the energy to bother us, it's always best when it's here. When it's at Hannah's, her parents won't leave us alone. Her dad especially. He feels every silence at the dinner table and comes into her room without knocking and understands hints about as much as I understand Hungarian. He's as different from my dad as it's possible to be. The others find it annoying how friendly he is. They wish he would leave us alone. But I like that Hannah's dad pays attention to us. It's a nice change. At Emily's, we feel guilty going to her room, so instead we watch movies in the living room with her mom. So yes, everyone prefers coming to my house because Dad leaves us alone. He never complains about the music being too loud. He never gets in the way. We can find a different time then, Danny says, and it could be my imagination, but he sounds disappointed. I really hope he's young enough to date her. But that's just me. Almost every day, Sarah the reporter stands outside my house, no one else, not even the photographer she was with the first time. A quick look at the Doveton Messenger website told me she has only worked there since December. I would be her biggest story yet. Last time, back when our story was national news, the newspapers printed whatever they wanted, making up lies when Dad and Nan refused to talk. I hate that. Sorry. It happens so often, and you just need to stop making up lies in the newspaper. This time, I want complete control. Another chapter in the script I started on the first show. Hi, I say. Sarah looks shocked, swallows, and says, hello? I've walked past her so many times that this has shaken her out of her routine. She doesn't start firing questions at me. She looks nervous, waiting for me to fill the silence. The newspapers have the power to make anything real. They were the ones who turned the Magpie Man from a character created by my dad to a name you couldn't escape. Now I need them to do the same to me, even if I have to start small, even if my first interview is with the messenger. When I start talking, she doesn't write in English. She makes squiggles that look like a foreign language, covering the page in nonsense only she can understand. He used to be a monster, I say, but now he's hiding behind a phone. He's pathetic. Ooh! Oh, that's risky. Especially if she prints that. Oh. The police profiles say he's proud of his crimes. They say he sees himself as superior because he has reached double digits, signaling his intent from his very first kill. If I mock him, if I call him out, maybe he'll respond. He will. I finish with another plea for information, and when I'm done, Sarah nods and clicks her tongue, smiling like she got exactly what she wanted. This is perfect, she says. Hopefully, after it's published, others will follow. Better papers, bigger platforms. Maybe this time next week, the world will be back outside our door.